Hey mamas, you're listening to the Balanced Working Mama podcast, the only podcast teaching you how to balance your work, motherhood, and wellness. I am Dr. Amber Thornton, clinical psychologist and mama wellness consultant. Each week we dive into tips and strategies and much more so that you too can become a balanced working mama. Let's dive in. Hey mamas, welcome to the Balanced Working Mama podcast. I'm Dr. Amber here, and I have a very quick mini episode for you. And today I want to talk about these 5 myths that are very prevalent when it comes to what it means for moms to put their wellness first. So in this episode, we're going to talk about the myths, and then I'm going to give you the alternative to the myth. Are you ready? Let's go. Number 1, when moms put themselves first, we assume that it means that they are selfish, right? We hear that all the time. I'm afraid to do this thing for myself. I'm afraid to actually think about myself first because people will think I'm selfish. And this is a myth because the alternative to that is putting yourself first is actually required in order to actually fulfill the big old role of being a mom. It's required so that you actually can replenish, you can feel rejuvenated, you can restore so that you actually can pour into your family and your children, your job, your careers, your friends. You need to put your wellness first in order to do all those things. So, no, it's not selfish. That is a myth. Number 2, it will damage your kids. Y'all, we hear this all the time. And if we don't hear it in this exact wording, we hear things like, oh, well, who's going to take care of your kids if you put yourself first? Or does that mean you're neglecting your kids? Are you ignoring your kids? We assume that when we actually put our well-being first, when we think about ourselves first, when we put our priorities first, that our kids are somehow harmed. That is a myth because actually what happens is when we put ourselves first, our kids benefit because they actually get a much more healthier, grounded, energized, present, well-rounded version of us. So actually, they benefit far more from us from when we put ourselves first, right? And so the alternative to this myth is no, your kids are not being harmed or damaged in any way when you actually take the time to prioritize your needs or put yourself first. And instead, your kids are benefiting because they're getting a much better version of you because you're rested, because you're fed, you're nourished mentally, spiritually, emotionally. Number 3, when we put ourselves first, it means that we're a bad mom. I think we definitely have heard this one in various iterations of this many, many times. You're a bad mom because it means you are going against the grain of what society expects you to do, right? I think the societal expectation from women and mothers is that if you have children, they automatically become your number one priority. They automatically become the first thing you think about. They automatically become the most important thing in your life. Yes, our kids are important. Yes, they are a huge priority. Yes, oftentimes they are the first thing we think about. However, you are not a bad mom if you also stop to think about yourself. You're not a bad mom if you're actually putting yourself first, because you realize, like we've just talked about, when you take care of you, you are better able to take care of your kids. So the alternative to this is no, you're not a bad mom. And instead, you're just moving against the grain of the societal expectation of what a mom should do. And you are creating a new normal. And you're not alone in this. Balanced working mamas all across this country are doing this. You're not a bad mom. And instead, you are a healthy mom. You are a whole mom. You are a well-nourished mom. You are a balanced mama. And that's what we want. Number 4, putting your wellness first will ruin your marriage. So I have 2 parts to this, right? Because as soon as I said that, there was this scenario in my head that led to this reality that for some of you, when you put your well-being first in your marriage, it does lead to a breakdown in the end of your marriage, right? Like we are going to have a mom on this podcast season talk about that experience. However, in and of itself, putting your well-being first will not ruin your marriage. And the alternative to this is if you start to put yourself first, if you start to prioritize your needs in your marriage, and your marriage or your partner is not able to handle that, it might mean that that maybe was not a healthy marriage to begin with. And maybe that marriage needed to break down. Maybe that partnership did not need to exist because it didn't serve you. However, marriages, partnerships that are worth the while, worth the effort, worth the intention, should be able to sustain you taking care of yourself, right? So if you are in a marriage or a partnership that does not make space or room for you to actually take care of your needs, your wants, your desires, in addition to your partners, that's not a healthy place to be. And so no, that in and of itself won't ruin your marriage. However, if your marriage is ruined by you putting yourself first, it just means that that was not a healthy marriage to begin with. Number 5, you all, almost done. The last myth I want to address about putting your needs first as a mom is that it's not possible. And I want to talk about this because what I want to do with Balanced Working Mama and this idea of balance in motherhood is to show us and teach us that it is actually possible to put your needs first as a mom, because now we know it doesn't mean that you're a bad mom. It doesn't mean that you are selfish. It will not harm your kids, and it only enhances you, your role, your responsibilities as a mother, and it really just helps to cultivate you and your identity in your experience on this earth as a woman and as a human. And so it is absolutely possible to put your needs first as a mom. It is possible, it is doable with changes and mindset shifts and new routines, all the things. You can actually get to a point where you're putting yourself first so that you can show up better for your family and your kids. And I'm excited to help you with all that. So I hope that this was helpful today, y'all. If you have questions or comments about how to actually begin this, I highly encourage you go back to some of the old episodes. We have almost 100 episodes of the Balanced Working Mama podcast, and each one has something in it, a nugget, a strategy, a tip, a mindset shift about how to actually begin putting your needs first, putting your desires first, having balance in motherhood. Go back, look through the archive, see what might stick out for you, but then also feel free to reach out to me. Let me know what you want to hear that will help you on your journey. Reach out to me on Instagram, email. You can shoot me some messages. Let me know, talk to me, and I will help to meet your needs. All right, Mama, I hope that this was a helpful episode. Share it with someone that you love, and I'll talk to you soon. Hey, Mama. Thank you for listening to the Balanced Working Mama podcast. If you love this podcast, please be sure to rate it and share it with another mama that you know. And don't forget to follow me and Balanced Working Mama on Instagram. I'll talk to you soon.